So, welcome back to the Beast Gang podcast, and today we're taking a look at The Joker, or Joker. It's directed by Todd Phillips, the Hangover dude, and it's written by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, Robert De Niro, and Zazie Beetz. And the synopsis is a gritty character study of Arthur Fleck, a man disregarded by society, which I don't think is highly accurate. Joaquin Phoenix's character, Arthur Fleck, he works odd jobs. The movie kind of starts off with him. You might have seen it in the trailer, him holding up a sign and some kids steal the sign from him. And the sign's for like a furniture store or something. They steal the sign, beat him up, and he's just laying there. And then he lives with his mom. He has some psychological issues, and his mother's more or less an invalid, so he's taking care of his mother. He has a doctor that he sees and tells her about some of the feelings that he has, and she gives him drugs, and he starts having all these delusions about Robert De Niro's character has a TV show. His name is Murray Franklin. He's more or less a Johnny Carson analog, that Joaquin Phoenix's character wants to be a comedian. He's not funny, and he kind of has all these vivid hallucinations about certain people in his life. One of those characters is also Zazie Beetz. From there, kind of sets everything off for the movie. Is one day he gets fired from his job because one of his coworkers sells him a gun. He plays a clown at a hospital. The gun falls out. I'm not sure why he has the gun, but when he gets fired, he's on the train going back home. A real world analogy. It might be New York during the 1980s. He's on the train. There's three guys harassing a woman. He intervenes. The guys just happen to work for Wayne Enterprises. He shoots all three of the guys and kills them, and he says that makes him feel better. What sets the movie off? How do you feel about the Joker, Matt?
I could see why people liked it. I can see why people hated it. Personally, I wasn't too fond of this movie. It seemed more like a social commentary / documentary. The one thing that DC did decide to do with this is that instead of the typical good guy versus bad guy, they decided to take the dark, true origin story, which was, in my opinion, it was refreshing, but I didn't like the tone of this as much, although I did know the tone of it coming in. I think a lot of this also is hype from the social media and what this film could do to people.
I mean, particularly, I was at an airport, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because they have all these unnecessary security stuff going on. And I was like, oh yeah, the Joker movie came out.
Everyone thought of it as like being this edgy and new movie and the new wave. Just so much hype on it. I mean, if this was going on Netflix, you would think it would be the same tone, just like a documentary. Did it have its moments? There was this one part where he was outside of the hospital after his mom had a stroke. And then the FBI agents or the cops or whoever they were trying to interview him. And, he didn't really give a shit. He was like, whatever, go tend to my mom. And then he walks into the hospital and he runs slam into the glass door. That shit was fucking hilarious. I mean, that was probably the funniest part of the movie because it was just so unexpected. But overall, if you like a dark movie that's deep into his origin, and I see how it has ties to Batman and it kind of tied it in towards the end.
Yeah.
But to me, this was just more of a clown who was evil. It didn't seem as well put together without Batman being there. And it took stabs at Batman, but I wasn't as intrigued or as engulfed as everybody else was social media as far as saying how this is the next best movie. Although the one thing I will say about this movie, if this movie came out first before all the other movies, I thought it would have set it out. I think it probably would have set up a universe a lot better than the order that it came out now. Although I've been told that this is his only movie that he's going to make of this anyway, given all the physical sacrifice that he had to do just to fit into this role. I think he lost, 50, 60 pounds?
I think so.
Yeah, like a ridiculous amount. So if you're thinking that this is going to be the next greatest thing, you're going to be kindly disappointed.
I did not like this movie. There was a point, maybe about 45 minutes. I understand what it's doing. Again, is what I had described, where it's this whole deconstruction of a person. It's all this sad moment after sad moment. His mother is sick. He doesn't have any friends. He has some emotional and mental issues. And it's just Joaquin Phoenix walking around from scene to scene, close-up shot, these long shots of him trying to live a life, a sad life. I understand that. That is okay. about 45 minutes into this movie. I see where they're going with this. I don't like it. And I mean, I'm not expecting Heath Ledger performance. I'm not expecting a Jack Nicklaus performance. I'm not even expecting a Cesar Romero performance. I'm trying to figure out, all right, I know where this movie's going. Taxi Driver talking about, because that's really what it is. It's just Taxi Driver with face paint.
I haven't seen Taxi Driver. I heard all the references to it, but
well,
I've
man,
never seen it.
Kind of the reason why Robert De Niro is in the movie.
Oh, really? Is that why?
He was in the movie Taxi Driver. He was the lead character. That he was just kind of psychotic. And it was a Martin Scorsese movie. And this one tries to channel Todd Phillips.
It's supposed to be like an ode to Scorsese in some ways.
Yeah. So War Dogs was a Scorsese-esque Goodfellas type of movie. This one is a Scorsese-esque Taxi Driver type of movie. Todd Phillips has a fascination with Martin Scorsese. And the whole thing is that the Joker inspires a movement when he kills the guys on the train. Basically, he was wearing a clown suit the day he killed those people. And all of a sudden, it's kind of like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, the same from the trailer.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Hunger Games that he inspires a movement. Because Gotham is so corrupt and Thomas Wayne wants to run for mayor. People don't like Thomas Wayne. So it's like this, Matt was saying, social commentary, rich versus poor, economic dynamics, social dynamics. And I'm like, okay, I understand where you're going, but this is not a Joker movie. This is not a comic book movie. This is just a drama about a guy having a bad day. It's kind of like that Kirk Douglas movie, Falling Down, where he was just upset about everything.
I was sitting over there, I was like, I swear it sounds like Falling Down.
Yeah, so it was more just that. And again, like maybe it's a singular performance for a person. Again, he has delusions about Zazie Beetz. She lives in his apartment complex. And at some point has her there at certain moments in his life. And what it is that his delusions put her there. So there's one time that he goes to a comedy club and she's there, but it's just like she wasn't there. Lucid imagination putting her there. All you have from that point on is just Joaquin Phoenix dancing around, walking for the camera, putting makeup on. So this is what this movie is. This is what we have all these different Joker movies coming out, and this is what you decided to do. I'm like, okay, that is fine. If you're taking a spin on the Killing Joke, that's fine, but make it interesting. Like maybe that hour mark, it's a 2-hour movie, and I'm just like, all right, it's okay. Not terrible, but cinematography-wise, it looks okay. Everything else, like acting-wise, it's not, well, as I said to Mike, the definitive performance of Joaquin Phoenix that, oh, he's just so great and wonderful. It's just like, okay, he's a character actor. Watching Johnny Depp play Jack Sparrow, you know he is playing a character, and that's what you're watching. That is it. It's not somehow he's channeling something. That's what it is. Do you agree with that, Matt?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yep. You know what? If this movie came out like 10 years ago, people would hate on it so much. Because
it's not a Joker movie. It's not a comic book movie. It's a drama.
It's not. It's a fresh take on it. I get it. But the thing is, what if this kind of movie came out 10 years ago? Because now it appears that everyone wants to be self-aware, have a greater meaning, rather than to sit in the movies and be entertained, which I'm not really liking this movie as far as trying to make all these multiple messages and every scene is iconic. No, not every scene has to be iconic.
Well, I made a comment about Falling Down. There's also another movie that Charlize Theron was in called Young Adult. It's kind of like the same thing. All you're doing is just watching sad scenes after sad scenes, someone that has depression, and that is it. That's all you're watching. Why am I here at the movie theater? Life is already depressing as it is. So it's like, why do I want to see that on the screen? But go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, just the social commentary they try to do in this movie. Rich versus poor, politics, running for whatever his position that he was running for. It was just, for me, it was a bit too much. I see where they were going, but not something that I would want for a staple character of DC. That they did it too much. If you took out the name Joker, nobody would watch this movie. Absolutely nobody.
Pretty
much. It would just be something that you see on Netflix or Amazon. That's exactly what you would see.
Well, it's promoted as this type of indie film, that it's artsy and it tries to be, and I don't like it. It's coming from somebody that likes artsy films.
And all I've seen are a bunch of tweets of how it's the greatest comic movie ever. It's better than Dark Knight. This is the definitive performance. Joaquin is absolutely the best Joker. debating this. Oh, Heath Ledger is so proud, blah, 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 blah. And I was telling Barry, it just made me not want to see the movie that much more because I was just like, okay, I have a feeling it's not all those things. It may be a good movie, but I don't see it being that. And I think the biggest thing is the only reason why I think this is such a big deal, right? The way it is right now, because I think it mirrors what a bunch of people say that they feel now, which is like depression is a big topic. Mental health is a big topic. We're in a world now where something's trendy or it's the hot topic. All of a sudden, anything that relates to that is, oh, that's what's in. Like you said, Matt, if this came out 10 years ago, I have a feeling this movie would get no love. People would be like, what was Joaquin Phoenix thinking? It's not really a good movie. But because all of a sudden now, everybody's belief emotion is supposed to mean something to the rest of the world and you're supposed to care, then I should be able to lash out or try to attack or feel a certain way. All of a sudden now everybody's like, oh, yeah, we relate to this. This is such a big deal. Like I've literally seen people say, oh my God, this is the best movie ever. This movie is so good.
I don't know if that's somebody's marketing hype, somebody's bots, but
no, I mean, this is literally like,
no.
Some of it's celebrities, others just like people that I see. But it was literally every tweet was that.
And people
I had the same debate about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Barry.
Not to cut you off, but this whole talk about the standing ovation, I would not have stood for this and clapped. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Same discussion with somebody about in reference to music when Jay-Z dropped his last album. Literally, the album's 45 minutes long. Within 5 minutes of it dropping, I'm seeing tweets of people going, oh my God, this is the best Jay-Z album ever. How? You have not even listened to the whole first song. Like, calm down. Simmer down for a minute. Like, actually watch this and digest it and then make a decision on, is this really that good or you just hyped about it? And people don't do that anymore. It's literally whatever, just, oh, yeah, that's how I feel. I relate to this. Yes, this is the greatest thing ever. No, it may not be. It really may not be.
A lot of that is people on social media want to have other people's similar thoughts. So people will just post something similar to that just because it sounds cool. Is not enough substance to this movie to warrant this being the greatest performance of all time, the greatest Joker of all time. It is a misstep for DC. Considering the whole DC universe has been blown up, you have that Birds of Prey movie, which is a bad trailer. That is a terrible.
Oh, that looks horrendous.
Terrible trailer.
I won't even watch that. That looks horrendous.
And then I didn't realize it, but it's also coming out in February, which is like the dumping ground for bad movies. Every bad movie will come out late January to late February. Why is that movie coming out in February? I believe DC doesn't believe in that movie because, one, it is the Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie movie with some sidekicks. But getting back to this movie, that movie's a misstep. Wholeheartedly coming off of Shazam, which was positive, Aquaman, which was positive. This is a misstep. And we're not talking about this whole see people flying across the screen or all the CG and stuff. Even if it was just not a Joker movie, like Matt said, it is not a good movie. It's passable, but it's not a good movie. When you start talking about everything else that DC's trying to do, rebuilding their universe, why is this here? Why did you make this?
Well, one, like I said, they've been trying to catch up to Marvel, but I think part of the issue now is it's almost like they took a step back, like, okay, well, what worked for us before? Dark Knight series. Okay, we need to do something more Nolan-like that's outside of the box. And so that's what they attempted to do with this. And at the same time, they're trying to maintain whatever universe they're trying to build to compete with Marvel. At the end of the day, you just need to do whatever's going to work for you. You need to build your universe out how you build it out, but make it that it works and makes sense. Because you keep making decisions like this and doing moves like this, you're never going to be able to get a foot in the game, really.
We have to go see Batman's parents or Bruce Wayne's parents be killed again on screen for like the umpteenth millionth time.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So the Joker inspires a whole movement. So it's just protests all across the city at one point. Robert De Niro's character invites him to the show. He plays a clip of him. They reach out to him. It's like, hey, you should come on the show. While all this stuff is going on, again, he's inspiring a movement. Everybody's walking around with Joker masks, and Gotham is being just ransacked by people in Joker masks. The Waynes are leaving from the theater. They're walking in the alley. Somebody in a Joker mask winds up killing Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, leaving Bruce in this pulling out shot of him being in the alley, slowly pulling back. Oh, his parents did. Oh, so sad. And I'm tired of that. I don't want to see that anymore. The movie ends really with, it's the whole thing about he wants to kill himself on TV so people can remember him. And he winds up killing Robert De Niro's character. Like, that's it. Everything that you have in between that is just him dancing around, him laughing.
Getting beat the fuck up.
Getting beat up a couple of times during the movie.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, you just keep falling down, sad scene after sad scene. It's, again, exactly what I said this movie's going to be. All you're going to see is just him rolling around. Life is so sad. Life is bad for him. Nobody understands him. The only thing I think I might have not gotten correct was the Zazie Beetz relationship. That was a little different than how it played out on the screen. She didn't really like him. He liked her, and his delusions always had her somewhere, but that was the only thing I got wrong. The movie just is not a good movie. And even if you're going to take a different track, because a lot of the animated stuff will jump around. It will be more superhero-ish. It might be more drama. The Killing Joke with a spin. That's really all it is. Matt, what score would you give Joker?
I'd give this movie a 4. The only saving grace of this was the acting, which I felt was phenomenal, but the acting alone cannot make up for its documentary, social commentary aspects. It's a 4.
Yeah, and I think that is ruining movies right now. I had seen a movie that I didn't necessarily do a review for, but there's a movie that came out about a week and a half ago at this point, which is Abominable, basically about a Yeti and this little girl. It's like a DreamWorks movie. A girl and a dog, a boy and a dog type of thing. But there's this one character that she likes that is like ultra negative just so she can have a moment of empowerment. Create a one-sided, shallow movie like that. This is the same thing that we just have to keep promoting social themes. Like, no other purpose to a movie other than to push an agenda. And I'm starting to dislike that a lot because it is happening more and more, way too much. I'm giving this a 4.5. This is not a great movie.
You won't hear about this movie probably after, if not this weekend, next weekend. For as great as it was. I know in the movie theater I was in, I went around 5 o'clock on a Saturday. My movie theater was empty.
Well, guess what? Movie theater will be empty next week when a certain movie comes out with a particular actor called the Gemini Man.
I'm watching that.
Oh, Matt. I guess that's the Joker movie. As somebody that likes dramas and likes cinematography and kind of artsy movies, this was just a little too much of all of that. And that's the Speaks Game Podcast.